No sense of sound. No smell of air. Breathless. I drifted among faceless shapes, without a clear distinction of form. Blinded. Until someone or something made me soar. Higher and higher still I went. That is all I can remember.
I don't believe you. Now sit down. I'm sorry, but you can't leave until you tell me. Where are you from? And what is it that you seek in the colonies?
What does it matter? I go wherever my feet take me, and I seek nothing in particular.
Do you or do you not swear allegiance to the Lord Protector, as a servant of his protectorate?
Yes, I am a servant of the Protectorate. Aren't you?
The Protectorate does not own us. The colonies may be inside her sphere of influence, but its people are not. You, on the other hand, were wearing their uniform. The bright blue fabric, the golden stitching. It tells me that you are part of the crew on one of their ships, probably a merchant vessel. The embroidery even says that you were the captain of that ship. Impressive. But what happened to your ship, Captain?
Our conversation ends here. I'm done.
Tell me whose journal this is.
Where did you get that? Who gave that to you?
It says Devan Rensburg inside. Is that you?
All right. I'm Devan Rensburg. And yes, that is mine.
I already know it's yours. I'll give it back to you, once you've enlightened me on its contents. Now read it for me. And remember, I expect the truth. Again, where are you from? And what is it that you seek in the colonies?
Fine. I'll give you the long version. It's not like I have any choice. I come from the West, born here in the colonies, but raised in the capital of the Protectorate's homeland. A dull and depressing city, full of stuck-up people with terrible customs. Nothing thrilling ever happened there, so I decided to leave that place, in search of adventure. I had heard about someone in the harbour recruiting men for a merchant ship sailing to the east. It was a standard trading mission along the Indigo route. I had never worked on a ship before, but enlisting in the merchant navy was the only way for me to acquire passage across the sea. So that's what I did. The recruiter, Aaron Ludlow was his name, took me in a rowing boat out of the harbour. And there she was, His lordship's vessel, Herald.
By God, Ludlow, have you read this?
No, sir, I haven't.
Your people seem to be causing a lot of unrest in the colonies lately.
My people, sir?
Well, you know.
I don't know, sir.
The indigo farmers, they claim the trade does not benefit them enough. They accuse the Lord Protector of abuse of power and demand fairer wages. The local regent has yet to respond, but I fear he will cave in to the pressure.
Is that why we have the politician on board?
Yes. Senator Morton is the regent's brother-in-law, and he's going to help him with the complex politics of this affair. He's also accompanying the regent's daughter safely back to the colonies. Remember to treat both of them with respect.
Sir.
Is there anything else you brought from shore?
Well, apart from the new recruit, a letter, sir, addressed to Senator Morton.
Well, what are you waiting for? Give it to me.
But, sir, it's not your...
My ship, my rules, Ludlow. You know this. Besides, I don't think Mr. Morton has anything to hide from me. He better not.
May I remind you he is a protectorate official, sir?
And so am I. You there, what do you think, boy? Should I open the letter or not?
Don't open it, sir. It's none of your business, and the Protectorate won't like it.
Really, now? But what if it's important? What if it's something I need to know in order to keep the peace among the crew and passengers? I am the captain, after all, and I have the responsibility to know everything. You should remember that, Mr.
Devan Rensburg, sir. Pleased to meet you, Captain.
Captain Cornelius Hendricks. Nice to have you aboard the Herald. Rensburg. I assume you understand that there are rules here. Officer Ludlow will give you the lowdown on them during your tour of the ship.
Sir, I have other...
But first, Ludlow, I'd like you to find Senator Morton and send him here. I need to talk to him about this letter of his. Be quick about it. I'll send Rensburg off to you in a moment.
Yes, sir. Be sure to see me on deck, Devan.
So then, Rensburg, I take it you must be returning home to your family?
I'm a Protectorate citizen. My home is in the capital. But it's time that I see my country of birth, and hopefully find out who the people were that gave me up for adoption. I know my father is a Protectorian, and my mother is originally from the colonies. It won't be easy to find them. That's why I'm writing everything that might help me with my search down in my journal.
Yes. Well, you should look at my globe then, Rensburg. As you see, the colonies are very big. You should write it in your journal. Well, off you go to your tour of the ship. Have a nice evening.
There was a globe in the room. The ornate rooster on top stretched his wings out over the world, as if protecting it. The paper stand on the captain's desk was filled with letters stamped with a protectorate seal. Cornelis Hendricks seemed to be an important man. The captain's newspaper lay open on his desk. Colony unrest, it said. The rest was too difficult to read from a distance. Looking at the display cabinet, I wondered what his collection of exotic and antique weapons said about the captain's character. The captain's cabin was one of the few places on the ship with a heater. The crew didn't have such luxuries at all.
Oh, well, I would assume he's reading your letter right now, Mr. Morton.
I sincerely hope you're joking.
No, on the contrary, sir. At sea, the captain makes his own rules. As far as I can tell, our captain is king on the Herald, sir. The crew his loyal subjects.
Officer, there are several reasons why the people got rid of the king back in the day. This is precisely the sort of thing that led us to abolish the monarchy. I'm going to have a word with Captain Hendricks now. Please carry on.
Not one, but two large ornate compasses stood on the poop deck near the ship's wheel. Protectorate design seems to favor perfect symmetry. I was quite often tempted to take over the wheel and sail us on a random course towards adventure, but that wouldn't have been a smart move. Not one. The captain's cabin was strictly off-limits without an invitation from the captain himself.
That, Devan, was Senator Lewis Morton. Did you see the look on his face when I told him the captain opened his letter? Pure agony.
Was it really necessary to tell him that?
He would have found out sooner or later anyway. People have a hard time adjusting to life outside the capital. On the open sea, the rules tend to change, but customs don't change with them. Mr. Morton is a prime example of that, and you will probably experience the same. The trick, though, is to accept change. It's something that people like Morton will never understand. But you might.
What makes you believe I will?
There's a reason I picked you from the lot. I rarely choose anybody who is unfit for a life at sea. Now for your tour. Welcome aboard His Lordship's vessel, Herald. A Cromwellian-class Protectorate clipper launched in 1851. As one of the fastest sailing ships in the mercantile fleet, she can reach a top speed of 18 knots. During her short life, she has already set multiple records sailing to the colonies and back along the famous Indigo route.
What records did she break?
Several speed records, of which the most important one was the race against the DeWitt-class clipper HLV Crowing. The Herald beat her by 3 days on a return voyage from the colonies to the capital. She set a record time of 78 days, 5 hours, and 16 minutes. Now let's move on to the deckhouse.
The bilge pump on the weather deck was used every day. Even in good weather, some water tends to end up below decks. So many lines and ropes that were going literally everywhere. I still can't comprehend how most sailors I met on the Herald knew the function and name of all of them.
The Cromwellian-class ship type is named after one of the Protectorate's founding fathers, Oliver Cromwell. These ships are merchant clippers, built with trade in mind. Making money is their sole purpose. The Herald is an indigo clipper, which means she mainly takes shipments of indigo powder to the Protectorate homeland. With this powder, we make the paint that coats the hulls of our ships, and the dye that gives the fabric of our clothes its bright blue hue.
I don't really like the colour blue.
Well, I see why you left the capital then. The rooftops of its buildings, the clothes of its people, everything has been coloured blue there. The colour blue touches on much that the Protectorate holds dear. And indigo is made from a plant that produces the only known blue dye that withstands heavy wear. Until anybody finds a cheaper substitute, the indigo trade remains an invaluable part of our economy.
Officer, do I really need to know all this to do my job?
We'll get to the practical stuff later, don't worry. First, the captain wants me to tell you why our work is so important. After all, the Protectorate is built upon free market principles that foster progress through supply and demand. Its people get paid an equal share for the work they do, and with this money they are free to do with as they wish. I am not fond of life on shore, but even I can see that the system works. For most people, at least. Now, onto the bow of the ship.
The capstan is a rotating device that is used to apply force to ropes, cables and hawsers. But I've heard that some captains tie disobedient sailors to it, with their arms and legs spread across the levers. There was one particular corner on the main deck where the captain couldn't see you from the poop or front deck. Littered with boxes, barrels and sacks, it provided cover for those in a bit of a lazy mood. Taking a short break to get water from the scuttlebutt was usually just an excuse to congregate with fellow sailors. I was wise enough not to stretch this privilege, not wanting the captain getting cranky with me. All day long you could hear the chickens cackle. Though the meat was reserved for friends of the captain, their eggs were a special treat for the crew at weekends.
We are standing on the weather deck right now, where you will work every day ensuring the safe passage to the colonies. You will be tasked with tying the knots, reefing the sails, and swabbing the decks. There will be no talking to first-class passengers, no idling around the ship at night, no begging, no fighting, no stealing, and most of all, don't get caught trespassing. Now that sounds like a lot for you to worry about, right?
I'll manage.
That's what I thought. Don't worry, it'll get tedious soon enough. Keep in mind that the dining saloon in the deckhouse is only for first-class passengers and officers during this trip. This was a special request by Senator Morton, so please steer clear from the saloon if you want to keep out of trouble. Anyone without a blue coat should just use the service stairs through this door here. Now, is there anything in particular you would like to know?
What if I wanted a blue coat? Where do I get one?
You'll have to earn one. The captain is an honest man. He'll reward hard work. But don't expect him to promote you anytime soon. It took me years before I earned mine. Now just go through this door, past the officers' cabins, and you'll find the service stairs on your right-hand side. Down those stairs you'll find the crew's quarters and your bed. That concludes the tour, Devan. I hope you enjoyed it. I will have to stay out here. I'm on watch tonight. The boatswain will wake you up tomorrow morning to prepare you for the day. Good night.
But I don't want to. And take this thing back.
But Ian, it's a gift.
I don't need it. I don't need any of this.
Get out.
I didn't mean to.
Get out.
The barrels were filled with rum. I wouldn't be surprised if they were placed there on special request. I was quite surprised to find a flag in the drawer. I'm sure it would not have pleased the Lord Protector to see our symbol of power tucked away in a nightstand. It was a peculiar place for a sink. I suspect it didn't fit in the officers' cabins. God forbid that officers have to use the same one as the rest of us. I wondered if everything was all right inside.
Go away, Ian. If you want to apologize for the compass, then now is not the right time.
Excuse me, it's Devan Rensburg, sir, the new sailor. I just wanted to check if everything was all right.
Rupert Brunswick, First Officer and Navigator. Nice to meet you, Rensburg. Welcome aboard. I'm sorry for my tone. I didn't mean to be rude. I do appreciate your concern.
Do you want to tell me what happened, sir?
Doesn't matter. I'm fine now. But let me give you some expert advice, dear boy. Be careful whom you trust on board. Some people might not be worthy of your friendship. Keeping to yourself will save you from disappointment. Now, off to bed. It's very late.
The Herald was equipped with many life belts. This relatively new invention can save people that have fallen into the ocean from drowning. However, if you get swept away by the current, even a lifebelt won't help. Looking through the grate, I could see the gun deck below.
I know you are out there, and even though Mother taught me to address you properly, I know your language is different from ours. Please, hear my prayer. Listen to my heart.
Boxes, big and small, were everywhere on the Herald. I wondered what was inside the one on the table, but I didn't dare to open it. The playing cards, strewn everywhere, seemed to indicate that the sailors liked to play games. I preferred to write in my journal, rather than occupying myself with such silly things. On the table stood an open bottle of wine, and there it remained for the rest of the voyage. Maybe I should have taken it to the galley to be used as vinegar. The apples reminded me of home. Looking out of the window of my small room, I used to dream about this journey while staring at the fruit trees in the garden. Few people on land know about the strict rules in the Navy. Being a sailor requires discipline and a great deal of respect for authority. I'll admit I did consider trying on the blue coat, but the chance of someone noticing was too high. It was getting late. I had to go to bed.
All hands on deck. The sun is out and breakfast is served on the gun deck. You too, boy. Ian!
Oh, I'm not well, sir. It's probably the food from last night. I don't really feel like eating anything right now.
Oh, really? Well, I don't trust Andres bangers and mash either, but you won't make me believe that they made you sick. That would be way too convenient for you.
I'm not lying, Caleb. My stomach tells me that something's wrong.
That's Mr. Haywood to you, boy. And I know exactly what you're thinking. You heard that Ludlow was sick this morning, so you're trying to blame it on the food. Nice try, boy. Now get up and start running.
No, I won't. You can't force me. I'm going on strike.
Ha! Don't make me laugh, kid. You wouldn't last a day.
Is Ludlow really sick? What does he have? He looked fine yesterday.
He looked kind of pale when he went to bed last night. Probably seasick or something. You the new guy. Rensburg, ain't it? I'm Haywood, boatswain on this here ship. You should report to Officer Brunswick at the helm. Needs his boy to do an errand for him. But since this wretch won't get out of bed, maybe you ought to do it. You up for that?
No problem, Haywood. I'll get right to it.
Just follow the instructions Officer Brunswick gives you. Now, off to the helm with you.
I don't need them, Captain. Might I suggest we raise the studding sails to maximize our speed?
I still want to see them, Rupert. Where is that boy of yours? Get him to fetch the maps.
I haven't seen him this morning. It's possible that he's still...
Ah, good morning, Rensburg. Nice to see you up and running. Rupert, have you made the acquaintance of Devan Rensburg yet? He's our new sailor.
Yes, we already met last night. Good morning, Rensburg.
Good. Now, Rensburg, have you by any chance seen a boy named Ian this morning?
He is ill, Captain. Not feeling well at all, he said. So I'm taking his place for today.
When is that boy going to step up his game, Rupert? He's your student. Discipline him, or I will.
I heard that more of the crew are sick today. It could very well be that they're all sick for the same reason.
Nonsense. The boy is weak. He needs to be dealt with swiftly, lest he never become a man.
I agree that Ian might be a bit weak, frail even. But a man with his gentleness is something the world might benefit from one day.
Some say you're soft, officer. But I appreciate your honesty. There is no denying that it has got you quite far in life.
Please, just leave the boy for a day. I'm sure Rensburg will do fine in his stead. Right, Rensburg?
The bosun already ordered me to help you, sir. So what can I do?
The captain would like to see my maps. Since Ian's not here, I'd like you to fetch them for me. My map of the European coast should be somewhere in my desk. I'll tell you a secret. I keep a spare key to my cabin in the pitcher in the officer's hallway.
The pitcher contained a spare key to Officer Brunswick's cabin. On the writing slope lay a detailed map of the African coast, the sea full of lines, markings and notes I didn't understand. I found Brunswick's maps of the European coast inside the drawer of his desk. A broken compass lay shattered inside Brunswick's desk. It was a shame to see such a delicate object destroyed. There were books about navigation, geography, mathematics, and poetry. None of them looked very interesting to me. A painting of the night sky was hanging on the wall. The use of colours was striking. One of the paintings on Brunswick's wall was a depiction of the Battle of The final battle of the Anglo-Dutch War. One of the paintings depicted 3 white boys playing with a ball in a sunlit square. I found Brunswick's maps of the
What took you so long? Were you lost? My cabin isn't that big, you know.
I'm sorry, sir. I'll ensure that I'm faster next time.
Ian would have done such a simple task in mere seconds.
Give me the maps, Rensburg. Well, that's convenient. According to these calculations, raising the studding sails might double our speed. Rensburg, find Boatswain Haywood and ask him where he keeps his studding sails. He's probably somewhere near his workshop.
Not one, but 2 large ornate compasses stood on the poop deck near the ship's wheel. Protectorate design seems to favor perfect symmetry.
Look, Uncle! Water as far as the eye can see. Imagine how big the world must be.
Yes, dear.
You again? So how does your new job suit you, huh?
I'm doing fine. It's not the best work, but it's not that hard either.
Well, of course they wouldn't trust you with hard work like mine. Now would they? So, what do you want?
I'm looking for studding sails. Any idea what those are?
Of course I do. I'm the boatswain. They're extra sails used to help the ship gain speed when there's very little wind. We ain't used them in a while, so I keep them here. I'll give them to you, but first, I need something done.
What exactly are you talking about?
Someone's been sneaking around my workbench. The key to the weapons cache was in a different drawer than usual. So, I checked the cache and discovered I am missing a Colt 44. If the captain finds out, we'll all be held responsible. So we need to find that thing before he gets wind of it.
Why not tell the captain and let the officers sort the matter out?
You expect them to care about who did it? Even though only one gun has disappeared, we'll all get the whip for it. You've never seen the captain in a fit. He can be a brute when he believes he has to discipline his crew. I still got the gashes on my back from the last time he made an example out of us. You are new, fresh meat that needs to be tenderized in the eyes of our superiors. Now, go and find out who stole that thing, will you? And be careful what you ask people. We don't want to cause a panic now, do we?
I imagined Haywood sitting at the sewing machine, sewing a pretty dress like a dainty old lady. I wondered what him reading an amorous tale of the chaste loves of Peter the Long said about Caleb's love life. Everyone hated the tiring job of filing the ship's wooden and metal ornaments. It was usually a form of punishment for small transgressions like using bad language or picking your nose. You could expect to find something as random as a drawer full of door handles from time to time. It was a workshop, after all.
Rensburg, what are you doing up here? Shouldn't you be getting those sills?
Bosun Haywood doesn't want to give me the sails. He said there's a gun missing from the weapons cache and ordered me to find it. I thought you should know, Captain. It didn't feel right to hide this from you.
What? Why on earth? That good-for-nothing bilge rat. Rensburg, take this from me. Don't get carried away with what Haywood asks you to do. I'll go and have a word with him right now. You should go and see Ian. I'm sure that child knows more about this. If there's something wrong, he's somehow always involved.
You had to see your face.
That's not funny, my dear.
Sorry, Uncle. I won't laugh.
What are you looking at? Leave us.
Came to tell me off too?
How are you feeling now, Ian?
Fine. Just let me be, will ya? I just needed some fresh air.
I understand that you're angry. It must be hard for you, living on this ship.
Stop with the fake concerns. Who are you, anyway? Did Brunswick send you to talk me around?
I'm Devan Rensburg. I'm new. I just wanted to let you know that Brunswick is really worried. I think he really cares about you.
Of course he cares. Him and his weird requests. He is everywhere I go. Around every corner and in every room. I'm sick of the man. His presence alone drives me completely insane.
What weird requests? Like, really weird?
Well, on some nights, he wants me to come to his cabin. And when I do, he'll ask me to sit on the side of his bed. Then He takes out a notebook, one that he hides for fear of others reading it. And then he forces me to listen to him reciting his corny poetry.
So, you said he hid his notebook. Do you know if he hides other things too?
Brunswick often hides his most prized possessions, like his compass, the one that he got as a present from his own mentor, Francis Beaufort. He gave me the thing as a present, but I refused. Next thing I know, it's on my pillow with a wee note telling me to be more grateful.
Do you know if he has a gun, Ian? One that he keeps hidden, perhaps?
A gun? I'm not sure, but I don't trust Brunswick with anything anymore. You should go to his cabin and search his bookcase. If there's anything he's hiding, it'll be there.
I don't see any sails, Rensburg.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm suspicious about Ian. I don't believe he's sick.
He probably isn't. He's just being a pubescent boy, like always. Children his age can be very stubborn. He'll grow out of it.
I don't think that's it, sir. I think it has something to do with you.
Me? His mother? His father? According to Ian, it's always been someone else's fault. Growing up, the boy was often difficult to handle. Why do you think he's here in the first place? It was his mother, Mary, who asked me to take him in as my protege. I care about Mary and her family, so I couldn't refuse. But now, I regret that I didn't. I tried to reason with Ian, tried to convince him that I only want to protect him from harm. He just doesn't believe me.
Ian said something about you making strange requests. What did he mean by that?
Strange requests? What was it that he told you exactly?
Well, he said you requested him to listen to you reciting your poetry, sir.
Oh, excuse me. Is it a crime to teach my protege about the arts? I am his mentor, Rensburg. You have barely known Ian for a day. He has always had the tendency to conjure up ludicrous fantasies about the people who care for him. One example even involved the principal of his school and his very own mother. I will talk to him about this, Rensburg, for I will not have myself be the next victim to such repugnant stories. Now get back to work. We're still waiting for you to bring up those sails.
A small collection of astronomy books betrayed Brunswick's fascination with the celestial bodies. Maybe this was the secret to his success as a navigator. There were books about Looking through the Merchant Navy's handbook, I discovered that officers are usually allowed to carry guns, but other members of the crew are not. A broken compass lay shattered inside Brunswick's desk. A loose wallboard was cleverly hidden behind a couple of books. Behind the loose wallboard was a cleverly hidden compartment containing a single booklet. It seemed to be Brunswick's journal. Brunswick seemed to like writing rather cheesy poetry. It was Officer Brunswick's journal. Brunswick wrote about Ian in his journal. He seemed to wonder why Ian was often angry and agitated, and he was also particularly saddened by him breaking his compass. There was a poem and something about calculations on the page. Brunswick's last entry told about a hole in the wall behind one of the paintings. There was a poem and something about calculations on the page. The painting seemed to have been moved recently. Behind it was a small gap between the planks.
What's that? Is there someone spying on me?
No. I never knew this was here. I'm sorry?
Devan, are you sniffing around? I didn't expect you to be that kind of person.
No, I'm looking for a missing gun, and I think I just found it.
Shh, be quiet. Come into my cabin. I'll unlock the door for you.
Before you start, please, listen to me, Devan. I know it's against the captain's rules and all, but some rules are there to be broken.
Are you willing to explain to me what's wrong? You seem troubled.
I'm fine, don't worry. I wasn't secretly plotting to go on a killing spree tonight. But you never know. I might change my mind.
I'm just a little worried, Ludlow. What are you actually going to do with that thing? I hope you are not trying to...
I'm not suicidal. It's not fair, Devan. I know the Merchant Navy Handbook from cover to cover. It clearly says that every officer is allowed to bear arms. Every officer, Devan. I'm an officer, so why don't I get to exercise my rights aboard the Herald?
Why is the right to carry a gun so important to you?
Forget the damn gun, Devan. It's not about that. I just want the captain to know that if Brunswick gives up his rights, it doesn't automatically mean that I'll give up mine as well. For some reason, I'm always expected to do as the white man does. I'm never trusted to make my own decisions. Sometimes I feel like I'm an officer in nothing but name.
You won't achieve any recognition by breaking the captain's rules. If an officer wants respect, he has to deserve it. I won't tell anybody you took the gun, but only if you return it to the weapons cache. If you do, then do it now, before the shift changes and everyone wakes up.
That's not necessary.
Captain? Excuse me, sir, but were you listening at my door just now?
Once again, my ship, my rules. I have the responsibility to know everything, Ludlow.
Are we really having this discussion again?
Officer, it seems you're having a hard time grasping the concept of authority.
Please, sir, calm down. I think it's all just a misunderstanding.
How can stealing a gun be a misunderstanding?
I didn't steal anything. I merely exercised my rights as an officer.
You cannot carry a gun, Litlow. I won't permit it.
Before I became part of this crew, I was always allowed to carry a firearm. I just don't see why I can't have one now.
What do you need a gun for?
How else would I protect myself?
Protect yourself from what, Litlow? I assure you that you are perfectly safe on board my ship. I will see to that.
That won't do. I'm sorry.
Can't you make an exception, sir? Just this once?
I'm not fond of exceptions, Rensburg.
You don't say. Sir?
Fine, Ludlow. Fine. Just keep it. I've really had enough of this argument anyway. But do take good care of it.
Thank you, sir. I will.
If that settles the matter, we should raise those sails now. Rensburg, follow me.
Thank you for helping me yesterday.
With pleasure.
You know, I don't even need to have a weapon with me all the time. Just knowing that I can get it from my cabin whenever I want makes me feel safer. So I wanted to thank you for it. Would you like one of Undra's butterscotch treats? They're the captain's favorite.
Did you steal those too?
Come on, Devan. You should learn to enjoy the good things in life for once and stop asking questions. They taste a lot better if you don't know anyway.
Well, okay then. Those look too delicious to refuse.
They do, don't they? Feel free to indulge yourself, Devan.
Why are you being so friendly with me?
I thought you'd never ask. I need allies, Devan, and friends can provide a kind of protection that a weapon never will. Back in the capital, I picked you, and believe me, that wasn't without reason.
I don't really understand. What do you need allies for?
The captain thinks I don't know. Or that's what I hope I've led him to believe. But I read his newspaper the moment I got my hands on it. Here, take a look. Without indigo to trade, the reason for our voyage has become a mystery to me.
What are you thinking?
I'm worried, Devan. There seems to be more to the Herald than meets the eye. What's going on down there?
Don't come any closer! I'll jump! I will! Just get away!
What happened? What did you do?
It was his hand that guided me. But now I need to finish it. I must.
I know life can be hard, Ian, but please don't jump. It's not worth it.
I can't live on this ship anymore. I need to get away. Somehow.
I know that Brunswick scared you. I don't think he meant to do you any harm. He's just confused.
It's not just him. It's been every single one of you. Protecting your own filthy interests.
That's not true, Ian. I've only been trying to help you.
I don't need anybody's help. I'm free now. I've been shown the way.
While Ian threw himself off the ship in despair, Brunswick was bleeding out on the deck below. In the chaos to save the esteemed navigator's life, nobody cared about that of the cabin boy, who was drowning outside.
Well, it seems to me he had that coming.
Who, exactly?
The navigator, of course. Brunswick. He was tormenting that boy. He should have known better. He should have acted like an adult.
Ian was a troubled boy. True, Brunswick drove him over the edge, but I believe Ian got there by himself.
When somebody places his or her trust in your good judgment, you better not abuse that, or it will come back to you, Devan. In this case, Brunswick just went too far, even with all his good intentions. As a teacher and mentor, he should have known better.
I think Brunswick did what he could. And in the end, he's the one that got attacked.
Look, Devan. When kings take pride in their rule over others, they often become tyrants. I've seen it happen myself. It's a sort of power that corrupts good men.
Excuse me, Merirani. I'm sorry to disturb you, but there is something that demands your immediate attention.
I'll be right down. Excuse me, Devan. Please wait here and do not move. Understood? Good.
Not the best bed I have ever slept in. What a beautiful ring. I must have been here for so long already. Lots of letters. No idea what they're saying, though. A newspaper clipping about the accidental death of a Raja. Interesting.
Now, when did I say you could walk around while I was gone?
You didn't, but...
You don't need to answer that. Now sit down. You are still my prisoner, remember?
Ugh, Well, thanks for reminding me.
I'll set you free. Don't worry. But only after you've told me the rest of your story. I assume the captain must have been furious after what happened.
By God, Ludlow! How could you be so stupid?
I still don't know, sir.
Don't tell me I didn't warn you 1,000,000 times! You are lucky that we are short on people with your skills, or I'd have demoted you there and then.
I'm so sorry, sir. There is no way I could describe my regret for what happened that night.
Why did you not lock your cabin when you were out?
An honest mistake, sir. It won't happen again.
It won't indeed, because I'm confiscating that weapon.
But I still have my rights as an officer.
This is my ship and... No, I'm not telling you again. You know very well what I mean.
I know, but it's just...
Your self-proclaimed privilege to walk around armed almost got an innocent man killed, Ludlow. A dear friend of mine. Was I wrong to trust you? Was I? I am an old fool.
You're not, sir. Ian would have found another way. There was little any of us could do.
After what happened, the passengers have lost total faith in my authority. To restore that, I have decided to make you steward, Rensburg. I want the both of you to pamper our guests as much as possible. And if I hear as much as one complaint, I'm going to have to use force to correct it.
I'm not sure I understand, sir. Why me?
Without Brunswick and Ian, I can't afford to lose any more experienced sailors. You are not an experienced sailor, but you are a charismatic young man. I need a keeper of the peace who warrants a civilized atmosphere for our honored guests. I already informed our chef, Mr. Andra Aubertin, about your promotion. You will find him in the galley, where he will show you what duties a steward of the Herald has. Please leave now, both of you.
Well, congratulations. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. Got yourself a blue coat in less than a week.
You sound jealous. Are you?
No. It only took years before I got a promotion. Naturally, you get one on your 4th day. Of course I'm jealous and amazed, but it's exactly what we need right now. Absolutely brilliant, Devan.
Care to explain how that was supposed to be brilliant?
Don't you remember what we talked about earlier? There's something strange going on aboard this ship, and you are going to find out what. Because as a steward, you will be the passenger's lackey, so you get to serve their food, rub their backs, and tuck them in at night.
Sounds like a dream job. No hard labor, just bringing dishes around and talking to people. That's it?
Nothing more, nothing less. Well, off to the galley with you. Be sure to stop by the crew's quarters first. You'll find a nice blue coat inside the cabinet there. And while you enjoy that shiny new jacket of yours, don't forget to eavesdrop on our unsuspicious victims.
Caleb had thoroughly scrubbed the blood from the floor, but I couldn't get the harrowing image of Brunswick lying there out of my mind. A blue steward's coat lay inside the cabinet, just like Ludlow told me. It felt strange to be its new owner. All crew carried luggage, some of them more than others, but nobody carried as much junk as Hjalmar Olsen. Why? I had no idea. All the soap in the world can't get the briny smell of the sea out of a sailor's socks, let alone the other pungent odors. I needed to go to the galley. Undra, the chef, was waiting for me there.
He made you the new steward? I should have known. You're best buddies with the captain, after all. Well, don't you have somewhere to be? The galley's through there and to the right. Now get out of here.
It was not uncommon to find a pile of junk next to Hayward's workshop. People generally tried to avoid him, so they often just dumped any tools they had used next to his workshop for the bosun to find on his way out. The signing of the Treaty of Westminster is a scene widely depicted in Protectorate art. It is so revered because it represents a defining moment in the Protectorate's creation. The large tankards we drank from could be found sitting around on trays everywhere. Not very surprising, since drinking is a sailor's favourite pastime. Day-old bread was put on the table next to the galley, providing a quick snack for sailors passing by. Undra's own fondness of fresh bread usually resulted in an excess of it. The tin plates we ate off gave a metallic taste to all the food that had touched them. It couldn't be healthy. In the corner stood a laundry basket filled with dirty napkins. I wasn't surprised, because the senator usually requested a new one after every single bite. Such wastefulness. It seemed that many of Lewis's books were about botany and zoology. That is something I hadn't expected to discover about him. He seemed more the religious type to me. A large cupboard was among the senator's furniture. I wondered what skeletons it was hiding. The door to the cargo hold had been locked shut when we left the capital. It would only be opened again once we finally reached the eastern colonies. Even with a blue coat, I wasn't allowed to enter the first-class cabins without a clear invitation by one of the passengers. A strangely shaped object stood in the corner of the gun deck. I couldn't really see what it was, but I had an inkling. The clockmakers from the province of Switzerland are the finest anywhere in the Protectorate. Of course, the senator owned a particularly fancy grandfather clock of Swiss origin. The gun deck was littered with all kinds of boxes that contained Senator Morton's belongings. I took from it that Mr. Morton must be a very rich man. Empire-style sofas seemed to be all the rage in the capital. The bulky and decadent design didn't make it hard to guess where the style originated, the province of France. Someone had left a plate on the floor near the boxes on the gun deck. I wondered who had been eating here, because that was generally not allowed. Among the bottles was one of the finest vintage whiskies I had ever seen. 1753 malt, said the label. It was over 100 years old. A particularly large painting was carefully covered with a blanket. I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those tasteful artistic nudes, like the ones my adoptive father often sold to rich upper-class men of a certain age.
Ah, my new help has arrived. I've never seen you down here before, Devan. What have you done to deserve this sorry job?
The captain just likes me a lot.
Well, he gave you a blue coat and took from you a sailor's life. You are a servant now. A servant at sea, but a servant nonetheless. What does a servant do, you ask me? He cleans and he cooks, of course. But aboard a ship like the Herald, he also has the duty of recreating a little piece of the Protectorate for our dear passengers. Lest they forget they're still part of it.
I was told by the captain that I was promoted to steward.
Promoted to steward, demoted to servant, same difference. Learn to speak the language of a posh Protectorian, Devan. You are definitely going to need that skill, being a steward and all. No, time to get to business. This here is Daniel, my sous chef, and he has prepared luncheon for the passengers this morning.
Hello, Devan. Pleased to meet you.
So for your first task, would you be so kind as to serve Lady Tabitha and Senator Morton their grub in the dining saloon?
Of course. Now wish me luck, Mr. Obertar, and I'll try to make the best of it.
Good luck, Devan, and please just call me Undra. Now, remember to return here after you're done, so I can give you your next assignment.
The dining tray contained the food for Lady Tabitha and Mr. Morton. On the counter lay a giant hunk of prosciutto from the province of Italy. Like the people from that province, it's rather salty, but in a delightful way. The few herbs I could find in the galley were often dried and stale. Bruising them with the grinder usually helped to return some of their flavor. Traces of cornflour and butter covered the roller. The smell of butterscotch betrayed its recent use. Undra had made his special treats again. Little bits of food were still stuck on the inside of the pan. It seemed like Daniel had been in a rush when he washed the dishes. Fresh produce was rare aboard the Herald, but carrots stay good for quite some time when kept high and dry. Alas, the galley did not provide such conditions. The most prominent thing about the galley was its giant stove. 4 burners and 2 ovens. Quite lavish for a merchant ship. Potatoes need peeling to get rid of the dirt. Sadly, it wasn't Danielle's favourite job, so sand was a common ingredient in the stew. The best protectorate cheese comes from the province of Holland. This particular one smelled a bit mouldy though, so perhaps it came from the province of France. Rice from the colonies is a staple aboard protectorate ships. It's easy to transport and high in energy, even though rice alone won't really nourish you. Cans of beans, peas and pickles lined the wall. The necessity of canned food meant it was kept on stock in abundance.
How despicable that the captain did not see this coming. It's just unbelievable.
You should stop worrying about everything, Uncle. Every time you frown like that, you get a new wrinkle.
I'm a man, Tabitha. Wrinkles give me character. And besides, I can't waste my time on silly things like that.
Why shouldn't a politician care about his appearance? Your line of work requires you to persuade others. A dashing appearance would surely give you an advantage.
Who said I didn't care about my appearance? Am I not dashing enough for you?
Well, you could try and follow the latest trends from the colonies. Colourful and less stern, more brisk.
I represent the Protectorate, my dear, not some exotic roadshow.
But what if I wanted to dress myself more like a member of an exotic roadshow? Would that be acceptable?
Now don't get any ideas, Tabitha. Your father...
Yes? My father... what?
Your father wouldn't approve, my dear.
Indeed. But father's not here. And why should you have the right to tell me what to do when he's not around?
Because I am your appointed guardian. That's why.
I'm a grown woman. Why would I have need of a chaperone? Times are changing, Uncle.
Enough now, dear. Say your prayers and eat before it gets cold.
Could you pass me the salt, please?
The lady wants salt on her food.
Now, Uncle, a little please wouldn't hurt.
Please, boy, the salt.
You can call me Rensburg, sir.
I didn't ask you for your name, boy. Don't keep the lady waiting.
I can do it myself. Thank you.
Tabitha, let the boy do his job.
Thank you kindly.
What was that supposed to mean? If I ask you to sprinkle some salt, that's what you should do. Now show me you know how to sprinkle, boy. Give me some salt.
My name's Devan sir?
I didn't ask you for your name, boy. Service has become quite lackluster these days. What happened to the men and women who knew how to blend in with the background? Please leave us.
The image depicted a quite handsome man holding a scroll. The Herald had carried many famous people across the oceans. The guest book could tell me what company I was in. A painting of a chemist showed him experimenting with chemical compounds. I have always been fascinated by science, but my foster parents not so much. They often said university wasn't the right place for me. The bulky buffet trays used aboard the Herald were difficult to carry when filled to the brim with food. I almost dropped one once. I'll never forget the dance I made across the 'tween deck to retain my balance. Inside the saloon, the second best wines were kept for the Herald's most important passengers. The best wines were in the captain's cabin, of course. The cups and plates in the saloon had the allure of fine china, but Haywood once jokingly told me he had bought them cheap from Japan, so they probably weren't. There was a painting of a girl in the dining saloon. As cute as the image was, it also made me worry, since I had recently heard rumors about toxins in certain types of makeup.
Danielle, is that you? Can you hand me the saucepan?
There was a saucepan on the worktop.
Oh, Devan! I didn't expect you back already. Say, were our honorable guests pleased with their meals?
I'm not sure. I didn't stay around long enough to get a good impression.
That's good. It means you are quick and efficient. No time to dawdle, though. These meals here need to go to Officer Brunswick and Dr. Garrick. You can find them both in Brunswick's cabin. Oh, and keep an eye out for Daniel, will you? I don't know where he is, but he has a knack for dozing off on the job. Send him back here if you see him.
The tray contained the food for Officer Brunswick and Dr. Garrick.
I'm so... Why? Don't break.
Is he going to make it, Doctor?
I'm not sure. He's tough, but it's getting worse by the day. It's a clean wound, but it's hard to say what damage the bullet did when it went through him. I don't have the tools to operate out at sea.
Please, no, it's precious. Stop.
Shh. Don't fight it, Rupert.
I have his meal here, Doctor.
It's unlikely he'll keep anything down in this state. I'll help him eat after I've administered his medicine.
Devan? Oh, Devan, is that you?
Officer, please, don't push yourself so much. You need to rest. Mr. Rensburg, get me my briefcase. I need...
Just tell me how Ian is doing.
I'm sorry, sir. After the fight, Ian, he fell overboard. He's gone.
So, he did it after all?
You knew? Rupert, how... why?
I didn't know, but I feared. Devan is in the pocket of my coat.
Like Brunswick said, there was a letter in the pocket of the coat. It was Ian's, and it wasn't nice.
See, it's all my fault. I could have stopped him. I shouldn't have...
Now, Rupert. Ian was deranged. A sane individual wouldn't...
Doctor, I should have known. He thought I was a creep. I see now that I pushed it too far, but I only wanted what was best for...
Calm down. What's done is done. We cannot change what has already happened. Just pray for the poor boy's soul. And yours, officer.
Listen to me, Rupert. There are few things we can ever hope to achieve in our time here on Earth. One of them is to be loved. Remember that Ian was loved by many. Now, please fetch me a bottle of laudanum from my briefcase, will you, Mr. Rensburg? The officer needs his medicine so he can rest.
Several bottles with various pills and ointments were in the side pocket of the bag. There was a bandage in the bag. There was only one bottle of laudanum left in Gehrig's bag, and even that was half empty.
Is this all, Mr. Rensburg? I had another full bottle of this with me.
Are you really sure you had more?
I'm almost 100% positive. I always take a few extra bottles with me on a long journey. Laudanum is a very common mixture of opium and alcohol. It's used for quite a few ailments. I can't have used them all up already.
Opium and alcohol? Sounds like a strong combination. Do you think someone robbed you to have a fun time?
I wouldn't be surprised. Some people are quite fond of its effect. It makes the user all fuzzy and warm inside, not to mention the dangerous illusion of being completely carefree for a while. Well, if you would, keep an eye out for someone with a flushed face. Laudanum usually makes people blush a little. Now please leave us, Mr. Rensburg. The officer deserves some privacy when I administer his dose.
Ah, Devan, you're right on time to help Danielle with dinner for the crew. Are you a good cook?
As if anybody can make a decent meal in this kitchen.
Galley, Danielle. You are on a ship, remember?
Really? I almost forgot. I was wondering where all the water came from.
Yes, you are still quite wet behind the ears. Now, boys, the water is cooking, and I expect you to make me proud while I clean and set the table. So get a move on and make me a nice stew.
So, Devan, ready to learn how to work miracles?
My adoptive parents weren't poor, but I'm quite used to getting the scraps.
Well, it's less than scraps that we have to deal with here. I saw a few sacks of rice, a bag of potatoes, and a pot of barley. There's also some dried meat and fish on the hooks. And maybe we can do something with those old carrots. They are getting moldy.
Oh, that sounds really bad. No wonder we're getting the same plain dishes every day.
It's not just bad, it's horrible. Where I come from, it's a crime to prepare dinner without a single piece of fresh produce.
That's ridiculous. Food is food.
Not to my people. Unlike most Protectorians, we actually care about what we put into our bodies.
Why do you talk about the Protectorate like that? Aren't you a Protectorian yourself?
It's a long story, and I'd rather not tell.
I understand if it's a sensitive issue. I promise I won't tell anyone else.
No? Well, yes, but I'd really rather not talk about it. Oh, right. We need a good hearty base for our stew. Could you find me either a bunch of potatoes or a pound of barley? No rice, please. I really hate rice.
It was a sack of potatoes.
Potatoes, huh? You have good taste. Hey, Devan, that Protectorate blue, it really looks too good on you. I mean, why does the captain like you so much?
I don't really know. Do you think he does?
Well, obviously, but I have heard about what happened with Ian up on deck. I just never expected the captain to reward you for that.
I didn't expect it either, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth.
I'm convinced that it was just a convenience, Devan. The captain must believe that having a steward to preserve some form of etiquette will help keep Morton at bay.
Why would the captain be afraid of Mr. Morton?
Afraid? I don't think so. Our captain just plays along with Morton's game. He moved a pawn, and that pawn is you. Remember that the senator is a powerful man, Devan. I heard he's the brother-in-law of Jonathan Vesey, the regent of the Eastern Colonies. Even though I don't really like Protectorate officials, it is in our best interest to keep him happy. Now, will you please get me some fish or meat for this stew?
It was a cured fish.
The salt smell of cured fish. It will go well with some ground chili peppers. You probably love spicy food, right, Devan?
Even a dash of pepper freshens up most bland protectorate-made dishes. Good chili peppers do wonders.
Well, it's a shame then that we don't have any aboard the HLV Herald. They would have made this dish a lot more edible.
Is there something wrong with you? You're acting a little strange.
I'm just being a bit sentimental, Devan. Sometimes you suddenly realize that you dearly miss something you left behind. It can be as small as the taste of a tomato salsa prepared with fresh Malagueta peppers. But sometimes it's about other, more significant things.
I think I understand what you're going through. It must be hard to be at sea, always far away from your family.
The peppers grew in my garden, Devan. Every day of summer, a girl I knew would pick the ripe ones at noon, and I would watch her while she did.
She stole your peppers? Why didn't you stop her?
She didn't steal them, Devan. It was her job to do that, like it was mine to watch her. Charlize was the property of my father's estate. But there, in that garden, she was free, Devan, singing a song while she picked the Malaguetas one by one. When we were together, I completely forgot why I was there and what she really was. A slave girl, forbidden fruit.
What happened next?
I became reckless. After numerous hot-blooded encounters behind a particularly beautiful pepper plant, I one day dared to brag about my exploits to my friends. When father found out, he said I had besmirched our family name, and worse, that of my fiancée. I felt ashamed. I never dared to face Charlize again.
You had a fiancé?
No, I got a fiancée handed to me. I could never love a woman like her, the wretched monster that she is. When the rumors finally reached the ears of my betrothed, her parents made sure Charlize disappeared. I couldn't do anything to stop them. I was asleep when they stormed the senzala, took Charlize out of her bed, and hanged her from a tree in our garden. I never had a chance to apologize.
They killed her? What barbarism!
Well, the stew is done. Go serve the crew on the twin deck. I'll be right there.
So, what you cooked up for us tonight, Undra? Another disappointment?
You alone bring enough of that to the table, Caleb. Besides, I wasn't the one cooking tonight.
If you were not cooking, Undra, who was?
Danielle, together with Devan here, made a fine stew for us.
You trust your kitchen to Rensburg?
Galley, Caleb. And yes, I do.
I guess you are used to rats in your kitchen.
Rather a rat than a weasel like you.
I'm starving. Fill my bowl right up, Devan. It'd better be good.
Ah, fish again. My guess the tater should make it kinda edible.
You should taste it, Bosun. It's quite an exotic mix of things. I like it. Whose recipe is this anyway?
I picked the ingredients, so you could say it is my recipe.
Well, I think you did great for a first time, Devan.
Hey, I made the broth and stirred the pot. Don't pretend that's not important.
I knew we were missing someone. What are you sneaking around the deck for all the time?
You were back there? Did you hear any strange sounds? I heard some eerie noises last night from the direction of the cargo hold.
What are you talking about, Rob? The cargo hold is locked while we're at sea. No one can enter till we make port.
But, Bosun, I've heard it as well.
Ludlow? Where did...
It was just a few nights back. I was walking to my cabin, and suddenly the air around me went icy cold. Then, out of nowhere, comes this ghostly tune, mesmerizing me as I walk across the 'tween deck. Before I know it, darkness creeps over me. The next thing I remember was waking up in the crow's nest at 3 in the morning.
When I heard it, I could swear there was singing too. We're all doomed, Bosun.
Don't go towards the sound when you hear it. It's really dangerous. I've heard terrible stories of sirens trying to lure men into their arms. Before you know it, you're locked in an embrace with a hideous woman with razor-sharp teeth and a pale, dead face.
Well, that's good to know, right, Caleb? Even you might have a chance with this girl.
Bah, I don't need no woman. Women only bring bad luck to sailors like us.
Like us? You and I are not in any way alike, Caleb.
I wasn't talking about you, hash slinger. Since when are you a sailor?
Hold your tongue, snake.
Your
And
mother
here we
didn't
go
teach you to show
again.
some respect to your superiors?
You, my superior? I think not.
I own you, Andra. You and the likes of you are in my pocket.
I warn you, Caleb, don't push me.
I take back
Why do they always have to fight?
It's because they're both idiots, Devan.
Officer, why are you here anyway? Are you not eating with the captain tonight?
With the senator as his guest, I'm afraid I will have to eat on my own for a while. But now I need to speak with Devan. In private. Good. We're finally alone. So, have you heard anything of interest today? Did any of the passengers bear their secrets to you while they stuffed their faces?
Danielle seems to be a man on the run. He fled his country because he fell in love with a slave girl called Charlize.
Slave girl? He must be from the Catholic kingdoms, then. Viceroyalty of New Spain, perhaps.
When his fiancée found out, they hanged the poor girl from a tree in their garden.
Whatever the case, Danielle is an unwanted guest in the Protectorate. It's better for him if we keep this a secret. Was there more?
Nothing that would interest you.
I'm disappointed in you, Devan. I had expected you to find out more than that. Well, it's getting late already, and I have a job for you. The captain is preparing himself for his late-night tea with Senator Morton in the captain's cabin. It's a friendly thing they do every other day. As you are the new steward, the captain has asked you to serve them.
Why am I suddenly the one to serve them now?
You are the steward, Devan. It is your job. Besides, you are the captain's way of showing how much he values the needs of his passengers. Now, make sure you find some way to stall for time while they discuss important matters. It is vital that they forget your presence so that you may listen long enough to discover what they are talking about. Sounds like a good plan, right?
It's a plan, but I'm not sure about it yet.
Well, you don't really have a choice. They're the captain's orders, after all. Go on then. They're waiting for you in the captain's cabin.
It is good to have you here, Mr. Morton. Now, as per your request, I have appointed one of the crew to the position of steward. I'd like you to meet Mr. Devan Rensburg. Perhaps you have noticed some of his work today?
No, I don't think I have. What does he do?
As steward, I provide the service that a man of your standing deserves, sir.
Ah, this boy. Well, remember to be a little less present, and I'm sure you'll do quite well as the new steward. There's no shame in being invisible. It's all part of the job.
He is right, you know. Now fetch us some tea, Devan, with a soothing splash of brandy, please. I keep a flask of eau de vie in the cupboard behind the stairs. My apologies. It really is all very new to him. Now, what is it that you'd like to talk to me about, Lewis?
Nothing in particular. I just wanted to check on you. See if you needed any help, or perhaps moral support. I mean, with our dear Mr. Brunswick injured by that crazy cabin boy, you must be quite shocked.
Oh, I am. Thank God Rupert is still alive.
But for how long? Do you know if we can do without his skills?
Rupert has been a dear friend for many years. I know we can't lose him. I can't lose him.
We have a long journey ahead of us, Cornelius, and I am afraid his condition is deteriorating. Will we make it to the colony in time, without his proper guidance?
Well, we're lucky that Rupert left his notes. They were enough to determine our course for the moment. If not for that, we would be hopelessly adrift.
I realized that if I acted busy, they might keep talking as if I weren't there, if I dared to keep them waiting.
Ah, delightful. And don't be sparing with the brandy, Rensburg. Now, get yourself to bed. I expect you to bring me my breakfast in the morning.
Devan! Oh, Devan, thank God you are still awake. Everybody is calling me a fool, but you'll believe me, right?
What are you talking about, Rob? Believe what?
The siren! She's back again. I've heard her song, trying to snare me in the darkness. The she-devil wants my soul.
Hold on. Why does she want your soul?
She feeds on human souls, Devan. Don't you read books? She's on the tween deck right now. Please take a look for me, Devan. Prove to the others that I'm not lying.
Flowers wilt too fast to take them on long journeys, but someone on the Herald had apparently found a solution. Made from the finest silk the colonies have to offer, you could almost smell these. It looked like somebody had been reading poetry by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I only knew of The Cry of the Children, which was stirring up politics when I left the capital. Beautiful. You are very talented, miss.
Could be a lot better. My father would say that I lack a musical ear.
Well, to be honest, I was just looking for a nice way to interrupt you.
Well, this thing is so horribly tuned, it sounds like a drowning cat. Oh, it's you! We haven't been properly introduced yet. I'm Tabitha Vesey. Nice to meet you. Devan Rensburg, was it?
You know my name?
I've heard all about your heroic actions with the insane boy. That was very brave of you, Devan.
He died, miss. I wasn't a hero. I can't be a hero. Heroes don't let people die.
I am sure you did everything you could to protect us from harm. For that, we owe you our deepest gratitude. What was that?
I've no idea.
Strange. When my uncle left for tea with the captain, I could swear I heard a howl of some sort. I figured it was the wind going through the piano, since the cover was partially open when I got here.
You seem distressed. Would it calm you if I took a look between the furniture?
No, please, stay here. I like your company. Quite a lot more than my Uncle Lewis's. Don't get me wrong, but being around him the entire day can be pretty frustrating. He's so imperious and self-indulgent. It drives me mad. I'm sorry, Devan. I just wish I could be self-indulgent too. At least sometimes.
I understand. I'm sorry to hear your uncle is so restrictive.
It's not really fair of me to blame it all on my uncle. We're all going through some rough patches right now. My family, that is. But I shan't bother you with my troubles. Sleep well, Devan Rensburg, and thank you for your company.
In the corner of the gun deck stood a piano. It was a truly stunning one, made by a Viennese woodworker. Few people owned one of these, even in the capital.
And? Did you find the siren?
You wouldn't believe what I saw. She was real, Rob. Her ghastly stare struck deep into my very soul. And as she beckoned me to come closer, I tried to resist her call. But her sweet embrace, her supple form, oh, and that bosom!
Devan, just stop. Stop making a fool out of me. You didn't touch her. That's impossible.
I'm just playing along with your fantasy. I thought it was a game.
Excuse me, Devan, but that is not my kind of fantasy. You can keep it. Now, good night.
It was getting late, so I called it a night.
Psst! Devan! Devan, wake up! You are the only one I can trust with this!
What? What do you need me for? It's the middle of the night.
You need to come with me right now. I wouldn't wake you up if it wasn't important.
Ludlow, just tell me what's the matter.
I'll explain in Caleb's workshop. Listen to me, Devan. There is something in the galley. Something that's not supposed to be there.
How do you know that for sure? And what were you doing in the galley anyway? Shouldn't you be on watch at this hour?
I was turning the winch when I heard this faint wailing sound coming from the grate next to it. I had decided it was probably the wind when I suddenly heard it again while I was inspecting the bilge pump. But this time, I saw something walk across the tween deck too.
Seriously? I thought you weren't impressed by those ghost stories.
Devan, I went down there and saw something going into the galley. Sailors aren't supposed to go in there at night, myself included. I woke you up because, as a steward, you are allowed inside. You can go in without getting either of us in trouble. So let's go.
It was too dark to see anything. I needed a lantern.
And? Did you find anything?
It's too dark in there. I can't see anything.
There's a spare lantern in the crew's quarters, but you might need to refill its oil supply.
There was a lamp in the crew's quarters. I just needed some oil to refill it. There was an oil tin in the drawer. I used it to refill the lamp. The cupboard was a mess. Someone had rummaged through it quite recently and left a trail of crumbs. An entire drawer was devoted to cutlery. It was such a huge mess that I always dreaded opening it. It was a recipe for Undra's famous butterscotch treats. The crumbs led out of the galley onto the gun deck. It's a little girl.
But who is she? And what is she doing here? Do you think we should wake her up?
She looks so peaceful. But we need to know who she is. Let's wake her up.
No, please, don't wake her. She's only just fallen asleep.
Huh? Lady Tabitha? Excuse me, miss, but do you by chance know this girl?
No, I don't, but... well, maybe I do. A little. It was a few nights back. I was stretching my legs when I found her hiding underneath the piano. She was sobbing and I tried to comfort her, but I couldn't really figure out how she got here.
Why not?
Because she doesn't say a word. She's been silent for as long as I've been with her. She likes music. That is all I know.
Why haven't you warned anyone about her?
We are lucky she didn't. In my experience, the Protectorate handles stowaways quite harshly. Corporal punishment has only recently been banned for petty crimes, but trespassing, that is still a capital offense.
But they wouldn't beat a girl, would they?
I've seen it happen with boys. Why are girls any different?
Punishment or not, If my uncle found out there was a stowaway on board, it would disgrace the captain. I don't want to be responsible for that.
But what should we do then? She can't stay here. Not in that box.
Can't Officer Ludlow take the girl to his cabin for the night? That way, we buy ourselves some time to discuss a solution tomorrow morning.
Good idea. She can enjoy a nice warm bed. To think, she must have slept in this box for over a week now.
The girl doesn't know it yet, but I think she's extremely lucky to have met you. Good night, Officer Ludlow. See you at breakfast, Devan.
Aye. What are you doing?
Just give me 5 minutes, Undra. I'll be right there.
Danielle, you know it's your job to collect the eggs from the coops.
I'm on my way already, just...
How do you expect me to serve breakfast like this? By the time you are finished, it'll be time for luncheon.
Scarumba!
What?
Stop bossing me around. Let someone else do it for once, okay?
Devan, stop staring and get to the kitchen right now.
Don't bellow at me now. I haven't done anything.
Well, maybe that is the problem. There's a pot of tea in the galley waiting to be served to Mr. Morton and his niece. Get to it, boy.
The dining tray contained tea for the passengers.
Good morning, Devan. How are you?
Great, now...
Tut-tut.
Sir, I was merely...
Pour me a cup, steward.
Uncle?
Just something between Mr. Rensburg and I. Now tell me, are you feeling well, my dear?
Excuse me, Uncle?
Last night you were out of bed, Tabitha. Can you please explain to me what you were doing at 3 in the morning?
I was just...
Go on. I'm just concerned about what you left the cabin for.
I had to go and empty the chamber pot. Oh, I am so embarrassed, Uncle. You cannot ask a lady to speak such a thing in the presence of a servant.
Of course. The chamber pot. Then why did I find this kerchief on my piano this morning?
That is not mine, Uncle. I have no idea whom that belongs to.
I've heard rumors of someone playing on my piano at night. But you were in our cabin most of the time, weren't you?
Yes, Uncle, I was. Reading. The Cry of the Children by Elizabeth Browning is truly splendid poetry.
Drivel, my dear. So you would have me believe there's a sailor missing his frilly hanky?
I am saying it might very well be the silk of a sailor's wife, Uncle. It can get very lonely when you are away from your beloved. And, as they say, music comforts the soul.
Very well. I shall give this to the captain tonight. Let him sort it out.
Good.
Oh, and if you, by any chance, want to play the piano sometime, by all means, do ask. I would love to hear you play, Tabitha.
Thank you, Uncle.
Don't mention it.
Uncle, my cup. It's chipped. It hurts my lips when I sip from it.
Sip from the other side, my dear.
My left hand is weak. I can't hold a cup like that. Besides, it's entirely against etiquette. Steward, take this one back to the kitchen and bring me a cup in pristine condition.
Miss?
Do it.
Tabitha had slipped a tiny note underneath her cup, asking me to meet her on the weather deck later.
I see you got my message. Just pretend you are fanning me with that.
For a moment, I thought you were serious.
I'm sorry about that, but you must understand. I want to talk to you alone. My uncle is not a man who'd sit idly for more than a minute or two, so I figured we could only meet if I pretended to read here. In case he walks by, we just tell him that you were making sure I was well cared for.
Right, but what do you want to talk about?
Remember that my uncle found a handkerchief? Well, it's not mine. I'm sure it belongs to the girl. I've seen her holding it a couple of times.
You need to get it back. You and your uncle share a cabin, right? You could take it from him when he's asleep.
Not possible, Devan. He even noticed me leaving the cabin last night. I need some sort of distraction if I want to do something like that.
Then we should warn the captain.
Yes. It's the only way we can avoid conflict.
Then we have no other choice.
It is better for all of us if the captain knows about this. He will take... What is that?
Rendsburg! It's coming straight at us! I need all the passengers to go to the deck house.
Captain Hendricks, have you seen my uncle?
In your cabin, Lady Tabitha. Go to him and take him to the dining saloon right away. It's safer there.
I'll be on my way.
Be careful when you take the stairs. They might be slippery. Rendsburg, have you seen Ludlow?
It's not his shift, so he's probably in his cabin.
I need Ludlow, Rendsburg. Go get him, now. If there's anyone still below deck, get them to go to the dining saloon immediately. Unless it's a sailor. Then I want them to report to me. That's an order.
Ludlow's room was a bit of a mess. I wondered what had happened there. The box was thrown on the floor. There was a necklace inside Ludlow's desk. It seemed to be a colonial design. While going through Ludlow's room, I discovered several of Gerrig's missing laudanum bottles, all empty. I wanted to ask Ludlow before jumping to conclusions, but it was hard to not think the worst. Ludlow seemed to have sealed the hole in the wall after I had spied on him through it.
Oh, thank God you're here, Mr. Rendsburg.
What's the matter, Doctor?
Brunswick's wound is suppurating, and his body temperature is very unstable. Someone has to hold him down, while I'll drain the pus. The officer's life is at stake.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but I'm afraid we need to leave here right now.
I won't go with you unless you assist me in doing my job first. If you decide to help, you can find me in Officer Brunswick's cabin. I tied his legs together with my belt, but you have to press his shoulders and arms down so he can't make sudden movements while I'll drain the pus. Are you ready, Mr. Rendsburg?
Can one ever be ready for this?
When you are as old as I, you are ready for everything. Now listen to me, Rendsburg. After I drain the pus, I will have to cut away the dead tissue as well to properly clean the wound. Please hand me the tools I need when I ask for them. I'll put them on the stool next to you. Listen carefully, Devan, and it should be very easy. Whenever I ask you for one of my tools, you will have to hand it to me. And please, don't mess up by giving me the wrong one. I need to focus. Ready now? Here we go. First, I need the syringe to drain the pus from the wound. So hand me the syringe, Devan.
I had to decide if this was the right tool.
Good, that should do it. Now I need you to give me the scalpel, so I can cut away the dead tissue.
I wondered if this was the right tool.
I need to sew the wound shut now. Can you hand me the needle and thread?
Gerrig wanted one of his tools.
Don't forget to sterilize the needle by holding it in the candle flame for a few seconds.
There was a candle on the stool.
All done. Now, hand me the bandage so we can finish the job.
It was one of Gerrig's tools.
Brilliant, Devan. This went a lot better than I had expected. Well, Mr. Rendsburg, it seems Ian didn't hit any vital organs when he shot Brunswick. But the wound is deep and has started to infect quite badly. I'm not sure if I can leave him unattended for long, and we honestly can't get him out of bed now.
I can't force you to come with me, Doctor. It is your choice. Do whatever you feel is best.
You're a godsend, Rensburg. I think it's best if I keep an eye on him. We saved him for now, but his condition is still unstable.
Are you saying I'm blind? I know what you're up to, Ludlow.
Of course you do, Haywood.
I'm serious. When are you going to learn to keep to yourself?
I was just...
No excuses.
What's going on here?
That's what I want to know too, Ludlow. What were you doing rifling through my drawers?
I just wanted to know if you had any nuts.
Can you believe this man, Rensburg? It must be that time of the month again.
Fine, fine. I'm sorry. I was just looking for a wrench to...
The wrenches are on the wall. You tell me I'm the one who's blind.
This is taking too long. We need to go. Come with me, Ludlow.
Are you picking sides again, Rensburg? The captain will hear of this anyway. I'm done trying to protect your ass, Ludlow.
Oh, Devan, what's going on? Everything's moving.
Get to the dining saloon, Rob. You're safer there.
Devan, we're in trouble now.
Why were you going through his drawers?
I was panicking, and I...
Ah! Ouch.
Lady Tabitha!
I'm fine. Just a scratch. But I can't find my uncle anywhere. He wasn't in our cabin.
I lost the girl too. I don't know where she is. One moment she was standing right next to me, and the next...
You what? She could seriously hurt herself, officer. What if she fell overboard?
It's not like I lost the girl on purpose. I had a stomachache this morning and was distracted when she suddenly ran for it.
A stomachache? Is that why you took those?
That came from below. Let's take the stairs.
Oh, God. My little girl, are you all right? Please don't cry. I'll get you out of here.
Look! The door to the cargo hold! It's open!
What is going on in here?
We were looking for you, sir. There's a storm underway and you're in danger down here.
The storm can wait! Who is this girl and what is she doing aboard this ship?
She's just lost, sir. She's all alone and I won't let her come to harm.
Elisa! Minha menina, you are safe. I was so worried.
Danielle?
Who are you, and what do you think you are doing?
I believe that this does not concern you, Senator. Please leave.
What did you say? I want answers, and now!
Uncle, don't be so harsh on him.
No, it's fine. Really. I can't hide it from you much longer anyway.
Hide what, exactly?
The girl, her name is Elisa, and she's my daughter.
You disappoint me, Mr. Barris. I trusted you, even as someone from the Kingdom of Brazil. I held to believe that you had changed your ways.
So, you know where I'm from?
Your accent betrayed you. Although I have to admit, if Mr. Roberter hadn't told me about his suspicions, I would not have been convinced.
Why was I not arrested then?
All refugees to the free world are welcomed by the Protectorate and its allies. Your heritage is not a crime, but human trafficking is.
She is his daughter, sir.
Doesn't matter, officer. This man smuggled a human being aboard a government-chartered ship with immeasurable danger to her safety. Harboring a stowaway is a capital offense.
That it is, and therefore I'm taking appropriate measures. Mr. Barris, you will stay under strict surveillance until we arrive in the eastern colonies. There you will be delivered to the authorities in waiting for your trial.
Excuse me, Cornelis?
He poses no danger, Louis, and I need my crew. Please let the authorities handle this.
You are the authority on this ship. I am an authority on this ship. We sentence him here, right now.
What would you suggest we do, Mr. Morton?
The crime in question mandates a flogging by whip.
You can't do this!
The whip's been banned in the capital, sir. The ship doesn't even carry a whip anymore.
We are not in the capital anymore, officer. And may I remind you that our captain is a collector of exotic weaponry?
There must be another way, sir.
Indeed there is. The captain has a rattan cane, an object often used in the eastern colonies to flog criminals. It would be an excellent choice in this case.
You want me to get a rattan? Fair enough. If they do it in the colonies, why can't we?
Because we are better than that, Captain. That's why.
Ludlow is right, sir. This is wrong, and we should not do it.
I cannot let this slide, Ludlow. Punishment is entirely justified here.
This has taken long enough. The captain has every right to punish Mr. Barris for his crimes. Take Mr. Barris to the weather deck, officer.
Senator, please. I beg you to listen to me. Danielle merely protected his daughter, sir. What would you do?
I wouldn't lie. Besides, I have no daughter.
But what if it was your wife that had died, just like Danielle's love? What if you had a daughter together, and she was the only thing you had left of her? Wouldn't you do everything for the child to make up for the loss of your wife?
That's enough, Stuart.
Mr. Rensburg, I heard rumors that you were an illegitimate child in search of your roots. That alone is supposedly the reason you travel to the eastern colonies. Do you like it when other people talk about your private life behind your back? I thought not. Truly, I find it repulsive that you bring my late wife into this matter. But you're right. I would do anything to make up for the loss of my Eleanor, even if that meant breaking the law. Take Mr. Barris to the brig, Officer Ludlow. The flogging is off.
Thank you so much, Senator. And you too, Devan. Please, take care of Elisa for me. She has a little handkerchief. Whenever she cries, just give that to her. It was her mother's.
Oh, the kerchief was hers. Such a pity that I dropped it in the ocean this morning.
Trying to protect his daughter, Danielle had brought himself into harm's way. Powerless and broken, he was locked up in the brig. Although the mystery of the girl was now solved, another question quickly arose. For what had Senator Morton been doing in the cargo hold during the storm?
You stood up to the senator? And I am to believe you made him feel sorry for his actions? Well, next you'll be telling me you met a mermaid.
I did meet a mermaid once. She was very...
Stop the nonsense. Fine, if you say so. Then maybe I was wrong about Protectorians after all. Though I'm still in the process of finding out if I was wrong about you, too. Are you willing to prove yourself to me, Devan?
What do you mean? Prove myself how?
Answer me. Did you or did you not rummage through my strongbox while I was away?
Yes, I did.
Did you read the articles?
Yes, I read a newspaper clipping.
Good. Then you also know what they did to my husband. To my family.
I think I understand.
Do you? So you know how it feels to lose all that you hold dear? The Protectorate took my kingdom from me by murdering my husband, the Raja of Mishra.
I don't really get it yet. Why and how?
The Protectorate made it all look like an accident. But I knew it was murder from the moment I was informed of my husband's death. For I have only daughters. Without a legitimate heir, the doctrine of lapse made sure that the rule of our entire state would fall to the Protectorate.
I'd have expected you to put up a fight.
Oh, we did. And paid. When I refused to leave my people, Protectorate forces marched on the palace. They butchered almost all of my household staff, the Raja's second and third wives, even some of my daughters that didn't want to flee with me. I left them, Devan. I left my children to die.
How did I end up in this again? The sea seems endless. Not the best bed I have ever slept in.
My ancestors made these murals. They tell stories of a resilient people that lived off the land, a people that overcame many hardships, even in their darkest hours. The stories used to instill in me a sense of hope for our future. But I am losing faith, Devan.
What do you want from me?
Look around. We are surrounded by the corpse of a culture that once flourished in this region. Your mother was once part of that culture, a culture which carried a long and proud tradition that is no more. It is the Protectorate that made it so. The Lord Protector stole our colors, bagged them, and shipped them off afar. And now the cockerel is brandishing our plucked feathers right under my nose, taunting me in the hope that I lash out. As tempting as it may be, my people can't afford that. I don't want to legitimize him wiping us from history. I don't want to grant him that pleasure. I'm losing hope, Devan, and what last opportunity I have left now rests in the hands of a few in whom I've placed my trust. I'd like you to meet one of them. In fact, you have met before. This is my daughter, Ashna.
Hello, Devan. It's good to see you've recovered.